Hello, hi, good afternoons, and welcome to all viewers and participants joining us on Mahasa University Facebook page and YouTube channel. So we are delighted to have you here for webinar series hosted by Faculty of Engineering, Bioenvironment and Information Technology at Mahasa University. I am Siti Afifa, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today's sessions. Our featured speaker for today's webinar is Mr. Razi bin Hamsan. Mr. Razif is highly experienced individual in the field of mechanical engineering with a wealth of knowledge accumulated through various contributions to the development of engineering program and teaching methodologies. And he is the designer of Horus, a web-based application used to academicians to automatically generate learning outcome attainment for CQI purpose. Currently holding the esteemed title of Certified Officer in Quality Assurance, Tier 1 MQA. Mr. Razif is dedicated to ensuring the relevance of teaching and learning in the context of modern technological advancements, particularly in the realm of artificial intelligence. He achieved this through a series of training sessions and talks conducted across various higher educational institutions. Without further delay, let's dive into today's presentation. Mr. Razi Hamsan will be enlightening us on the crucial topic of ethical use of AI in learning. His insight promised to shed light on the responsible and conscientious integration of AI in education. All right, Mr. Razif, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone who's attending this session. Okay, my name is Razif, so I will be your speaker today. For my title, the expanded title for today is Artificial Intelligence and Generative Pre-trained Transformers in Education. So basically, in general terms, we're using AI, the ethical use of AI in education. Right. So before I start my session, I would like to just put out a little bit of disclaimer. Right. So whenever people say about AI, whenever people say about GPT, whenever people say about all these tools, people have a negative impressions towards it, especially in education, whether it be students or teachers or lecturers. So the aim of this webinar is for us to change the mindset that we wanted to embrace all the artificial intelligence, all the GPTs, so that it will actually become beneficial to us, but in a very ethical way, right? That's the whole idea of my talk today. And that's where I want to bring you into my vision and how I constantly preach this to other people that I meet in other institutions as well. Right. So I believe all of you have heard about AI. I believe all of you have heard about GPT. And there's a plethora of applications out there that you can use in order for you to, well, basically generate everything or generate anything from doing text, from writing a piece of a letter, or writing a whole thesis, generating images, performing arts, doing videos, songs, and everything, all can be done using generative AI. Right? So there's a lot of brands. Everything at the end of the day, it comes down to which brand and which one is that is much more suitable for you. There's no saying that this app is better than that app. It depends on how does it actually suits to your application. So I believe that you have seen most of these features. Actually, the one that I'm showing here is only 10% out of the whole brandings and the whole websites that we have out there in the interwebs. Okay, so this is just to show you to paint you a picture of the tools that we can use. So this is one of the reasons why I do this preach, because a lot of people think that, okay, as a student, especially in higher education, as a student, when the students say, oh, I use AI to do my work, people will have a negative perception towards it. Whether it could be from your peer, your friends, or it could be from your lecturers or your teachers as well. So we need to paint a good picture to everyone, showing is actually using it now, and it becomes much more user friendly. So or might happens before it actually happens, right? So those who are in engineering programs, you might heard about logic designs or logic, like in short, we always say in logic, right? The whole idea of logic is where you are predicting what are the things that's going to happen after if you do a certain set of actions. Simple basic terms, you all heard about gates, right? Okay, we have the AND gate, OR gate, NAND gate, not AND and not OR, NOR gates, and all those kind of gates, right? So you can predict what's the output. Say you have the input, you have two inputs. One is normally open, and one is normally closed. So depending on what type of gate you're using, you will know what's going to be the outcome before you even do your circuit, before you even do your programming. You are able to design that kind of logic. You are doing prediction, right? So that is the basis of when we say artificial intelligence, when we say generative pre-trained transformers. Generative pre-trained transformers, the short form is GPT. You know, you guys heard about Chat GPT, Chat PDF, and all sorts of different types of GPTs. GPT stands for generative pre-trained transformers. Okay, a lot of people didn't realize that, so I'm sharing it with you. And the basis of all this are what we call as the large language model, okay, the LLM. So let me bring you a little bit on the technical terms on this one. I'm not going to teach you the whole story of what AI is and what LLM is and all. But in order for us to embrace artificial intelligence, we must first know them better, correct? Okay, so as if like you wanted to know about your girlfriend, you must know them first. Then only you can embrace them, right? So we need to understand, we need to make friends with AI, we need to make friends with all these GPTs. How does it actually work? So the basic principle of AI is reinforced learning from human feedback. Believe it or not, artificial intelligence started off from human brains, right? So first, what does it do? It does SFT, what we call as the supervised fine-tuning. So what happens here, you have a bunch of humans, what we call as human labelers. They're going to key in what are the things that's going to happen after a set of action happens. Okay, I give you a simple example. Say if it's a predictive text. Okay, predictive text. If somebody type, I want to. Okay, I want to. What's the next prediction? I want to eat. I want to sleep. I want to play. I want to go out. I want to go to school. I want to go to the mall. I want to go to work. See, all these kind of predictions, millions of words are being put down by these human labelers. Okay, that's what SFT means. Then we bring into a reward model, the RM. So this reward model, we go back to the SFT just now, and we have a lot of human labelers putting out all the predictions, then we rank them. Okay, so SFT is being ranked, okay, by labelers from which is the worst all the way to the top, which is the best answer. So that's why I did give you an example. If you, I believe everyone have used ChatGPT at one point of your life at this moment. OpenAI, I'm talking about OpenAI, ChatGPT, or any other things like Bard and other brands as well. Okay, when you use that, when you type something, there is a possibility of you having multiple answers, different answers. Okay, so why does you have different answers? Because of this reward model. Because the answer could be in multiple paths depending on what is your prompt. Okay, so this prompt, I'm going to talk about it just in a moment. But as for now, let's just focus on this one. So when you key in it, there's a possible different answers. So the AI is going to give you the best answer, which it thinks is the best, based on the prompts that you put in. Okay? Then finally, it will bring you to a proximal policy optimization, what we call as the PPO lah, which this PPO will further enhances your reward model. Means that it will be further refined and refined. So that's the reason why the more people using AI, the more intelligent it gets. Okay, if you want to compare, okay, the chat GPT that you used 2 years ago and today, the way how it answers is totally different because it's getting smarter and smarter based on the inputs that we get. Right, so when we say about prediction, we say about logic. So just think about this analogy. If somebody stand in front of you, they take their shoe or they take their slippers or whatever, and then they go and throw to your face. Okay, so naturally, what would you do? You will try to evade lah. You try to avoid, or you try to hold it by your hand so that the slippers doesn't hit your face. What's the logic behind that? Because in your brain, you have already programmed, if something hits your face, then it will hurt you. Okay, so that is pre-programmed in your head as a human. So basically, a computer or an artificial intelligence, they don't have this knowledge until that those information are being installed into you. Okay, into them, sorry. It will be installed into them so that they will know what are the next course of action that they should take. So that's the basic concept of AI. Right, so now what AI is capable of? Okay, AI is, of course, when we talk about large language model, LLM, which is the basis of our generative AIs. Okay, so number one, it can do language understanding. Now, in comparison to, say, for example, we talk about C++. C++ also is considered as human language, slightly. Right. Still, there are human language means normal English language which that you can understand. For example, like if, else. If A happens, B will turn on. Else, C will turn on. Okay, it's a normal English language being put into a certain structure that is being understood by the computer or by your system. Okay, but with generative AI, it will further brings that into a different level so that it's fully understand our normal language. So that's the biggest capability of generative AI. Right, and then we talk about contextual understanding. Means that it can understand in your context. See, it comes down to the prompt, right? So you will start hearing a lot of the word prompt from this point on. Right, say for example, you're doing your assignment. Your lecturer asks you to look for information in regards to, say, the logistic trends in Malaysia. Okay, so you can just search in ChatGPT. Okay, can you please tell me about the trend of logistics in Malaysia? Just as simple as that. And it will give you the most generic answer possible. However, if you put more context into it, as an example, can you explain in regards to air logistics? Okay, in Malaysia that involves Southeast Asian countries. So then it will start to give you a more specific answers to it. So this is where we start to talk about the ethical way, how we want to bring it in to make it much more accurate towards what we wanted, meaning that it's going to be catered to us. If you manage to bring your AI catered to your own personal needs, to what you're supposed to bring in, then it will be much ethical rather than giving a very generic answer. A generic answer that is generated by your generative AI, as if like you are taking information or you're just copy pasting from Wikipedia. It's more or less it's equivalent to that, right? There's no effort, there's no proper contextualizations that is being carried out, okay, to your work, right? So now we are fully capitalizing on the intelligence of generative AI to help us to actually do all these things, right? So natural language generation, flexibility, basically you can turn and change all the prompts to make everything is personalized to your needs, right? The keyword there is to make personalization. Once it is personalized, specifically niche to you and what you need, then it will be much more unique, right? And generative AI is basically it's open-ended. Okay, of course, closed-ended, something that you can just Google. Okay, what is the pressure of the Earth atmosphere? You can Google that and you can get the answer. What is the gravitational pull unit of the Earth? Then that you can get a very direct answer. But when we talk about what is the repercussion of implying tax, additional increasing service tax in food and beverages. So that is much more an open-ended generation. So when that happens, right, so you will be able to get a generic answer. But again, go back to our previous point just now, if you contextual everything, make it personalized through yourself, then you will be able to get a more specific niche answer, which is catering to you. Right, so like I mentioned earlier, AI is capable of continuous learning, means that as it studies the trend, as you were using them, they are actually studying you. Okay, what are the trends, what are the things that you are able to do? In fact, if you use OpenAI, there's a section where you can actually put in your profile. Right, so in the profile, it will ask you, what do you do? And basically, you just describe yourself, your daily activities, and what are the things that you're interested in. So that the answer that they give will be catering towards what you need. Okay, and it will immediately understands which area that you are talking about. So, for example, my OpenAI profile, I mentioned that I am an academician, right? So I do education, I do quality assurance, so I do all this. So whenever that I put a prompt in my OpenAI, then immediately the system will understand that from which angle or which context that I'm talking about, right? So that's what is capable of. And multilingual supports, there are AI that understands Bahasa Melayu now, believe it or not. Right, so GPT. So I like to put this analogy. Now, imagine GPT is like a chef. How are we going to make it, in the term of ethical? We talk about ethics value. So think of it, GPT is like a chef, right? So imagine that GPT is your personal chef. Okay, so you have your personal chef. So first you ask the chef to make you nasi goreng. Okay, fried rice. Okay, so you just tell, okay, chef, please cook me fried rice. So the chef could cook you, chicken fried rice, beef fried rice, egg fried rice, all different types of fried rice lah, depending on what does the chef wanted to cook. So not what you wanted, but what that the chef think that is the best. Remember the human labelers, the SFT and all. So that depends on the chef. But it's not catering to what you want. You might want chicken fried rice, but the chef gives you egg fried rice. So you need to specify to the chef, chef, I want chicken fried rice. So the chef will start to cook chicken fried rice specifically for you. However, the chicken fried rice might be spicy, or it might be salty, or might be bland. It depends on, again, the chef, what he thinks is the best, not what he thinks for you. See, the whole idea is where you want to personalize the answer to you, right? So now you're telling, please chef, cook me chicken fried rice that is less spicy. Then they will cook specifically catering to what you need, right? So this analogy is applicable to prompts, right? So when you are putting prompts, when your lecturer asks you to find information about the manufacturing trends in Malaysia, you didn't go and type, tell me about manufacturing trends in Malaysia. You must contextualize based on what you need. So what do you need is where you need to do a little bit of study, a little bit of reading. This is where going back to old school Googling will help you, right? But using AI to further enhance and refine your answers. Then I will bring you into refining lah. Right, so the potential of AIs, okay, in higher education. So this fall lah, individual student needs, like I've mentioned, contextualized, personalized to you, and understanding concepts and solving problems, right? So this also, I always consider this to become as AI as your personal tutor. Okay, back then, we need to rely on real human tutor to study, right? We go to lectures, the lecturer teaches something, and then when it comes to us doing the practice and whatnot, then we have to rely on tutors to teach us that, right? But if we couldn't meet the tutor, then we couldn't do anything then. We have to study ourselves. So what we study and what we understand might be wrong. But these days you have all those AIs, so you can actually rely on AI to become your own personal tutor. See, you can use AI as good as how you've been Googling all this while. However, Google doing Googling will give you very generic answer, and at times, especially in engineering field, you will end up with advertisement, you will end up with catalogs from factory. For example, if your lecturer asks you to study about material handling machines, okay, or material handling robots. So if you go and Google material handling robots, most likely you're going to end up with people selling AGVs or people selling cranes. Not the exact technical information that you wanted, but if you use generative AI, put in your prompts, contextualize it on how you want it, how does the question want it, how does the lecturer explain to you, and how do you actually understand it. Put all this into your prompts, then you will get a very specific answer for that. Understanding concepts, solving problems, right? And from there, you will be able to gather information to do further research, right? I always tell my students that you need to use this AI to create the frame of whatever that you wanted to do. Whether is it going to be a short answer paragraph, whether is it going to be an essay, or it's going to be a mini project or a portfolio, or even a thesis, right? And in fact, when I do policies and all, still I use AI to help me to come up with the frame, right? Those in when we were in school, I remember our teachers used to teach us, whenever you want to write an essay, you must come up with the frame first. Okay, in Malay we call it serangka karangan. Those who can still remember, right? Same thing. But now you don't have to think about the frame. AI is going to suggest for you, but not necessarily what AI gives to you. You need to use lah. It depends lah. You can always personalize and contextualize, right? And language learning, interactive learning. Interactive learning means that if you are unsatisfied with your answers, or if you think that the answer should be refined more, or the answers is inaccurate towards what you need, then you can always tell AI to further change that, right? That's the basic idea. So how does AI can help you in education? Number one is personalized learning. I've mentioned personalized learning. This is the missed opportunity that a lot of people didn't realize. Okay, why does a lot of lecturers always keep on telling the students, keep on telling you, say, oh no, I cannot accept your answers because you've been using AI. Why? Because your answers are very generic. It's not that they don't accept AI, they do accept AI, but your answer is very generic, that it does not actually tackles to what does the question wanted. So you need to look back at what context does the question wanted, number one, and number two, you have to look at what kind of learning outcome does the question actually trying to tackle. You must understand that as well. I believe your lecturers, the students, the lecturers has been telling you about learning outcomes. So you look at the learning outcome. So that also can be the context for your prompts in order for you to look for the answer. So it will be personalized learning experience for the students. Say then it will enhance the engagement and motivation. I give you an example. When I teach, I always encourage the students to use AI. So whenever I ask questions, I tell my students to use AI to answer back to me. right? Even when I do training, I train lecturers. I ask questions, then I tell them, please use AI to answer back to me. Then from there, we can actually further enhancing, okay, our learning experience. So now no more the situations where you feel scared that you won't be able to answer your lecturer. Everything is on your phone. You don't even have to have a laptop or a tablet. You can just have your phone, search for the answers there. Then from there, you can create an engagement with your lecturers, with your classmates, with everyone, in order for you to understand or to have a discussion even on a basic understanding of a certain topics, right? So all this goes into one point: efficient and prompt feedback. If you are able to do this, then the ethics will come in automatically. Remember, ethics is not something that you can teach. I cannot go and teach you this is ethics. I can basically, but then not necessarily you're going to follow. But if you are able to perform all this that I have mentioned, then the ethical concept or the idea will come in automatically. All right. So again, we want to eliminate the misconceptions of people when I tell people, "Oh, I use AI in order for me to create this," and people would say, "Oh, you are lazy." Say no, because if you just go and do generic prompt, you won't be able to generate what I have been doing here. Right. So just sharing with you. Right. However, of course, AI in assessments, if you do for your assignments, exams, and so on, there are certain limitations. Number one, there are bias because again, go back to how does AI works. It is at the end based on human labelers. If you talk about Google AI, then it's based on the Google database. If you talk about OpenAI, it's based on the human labelers that has been working in the project. So whatever in the informations that you might be able to generate, so it might be biased into its training data, number one. Number two, it won't be able to give you any emotional understanding or contextual awareness. For example, if you ask generative AI to critique on a certain things, it will immediately will tell you they don't have that kind of capability to do critique. However, if you want them to comment and give suggestions on how to improve, for example, I write an essay lah. So I write an essay on a manufacturing system. So I give a proposal. So before I pass to my lecturer, then I will ask ChatGPT, for example. I ask ChatGPT, okay, this is my work. So can you comment on this? Can you give me suggestions further on how do I want to improve on this? So that they will help you with. So you can get this information to actually improve. So again, like I said, it's like you're having your own tutors to help you. Okay, before it actually reach to your lecturer for your assignment. Right. Now, and also ambiguous prompts or too open-ended lah. Okay, like I said, everything has to be contextualized, everything has to be personalized, then only you will be able to generate the right answer that for whatever assessments that you are doing. Right. So back then, when we want to come up with ideas, especially when you are in a group, so we always do something what we call as brainstorming. I believe all of you have heard about brainstorming, right? So brainstorming is basically you have one person, sorry. So basically you have one person sitting in front and then writing, and then other people will throwing ideas, and then that's where you're going to do your brainstorming, and that's where you're going to start branching out ideas. Now, that would require multiple brains in order for you to make brainstorming works well. Okay. However, using AI, you will be able, okay, to do branching out ideas without any other humans together with you, right? So you can actually use AI to help you to generate or to branch out all the ideas that you put in. Okay, so for example, you can get AI to generate any possible answer options, means that you ask the AI to generate for you any possible answers. More answers possible is better. Then from there, you will be able to do the selection yourself. Then after you do the selection, then you will be able to further branching it out. All right. So once you get into that, then you can leverage on all the details, and then where you can actually go back to AI and get the feedback. Right. Like I mentioned, you've written all the essays, you've written all the answers. Ask them back. Okay, this is what I did. This is what I did. So please give a comment, and please give suggestions on how do I improve this. Right. So, for example, if you're doing your assessments, or if you're doing, learning, for example, if you wanted to look for the right answers or the accurateness of the answers, so you can use AI in order for you to assess the correctness or the quality of whatever that you've written. Rather than getting AI to write the answer for you, you can say, okay, AI, this is the question, and this is what I think is the answer. Can you please let me know whether my answer is accurate and what is the quality of my answer? Okay, and then AI is going to give you suggestions on how to further improve on that one. Okay, so this is one example lah. Okay, that you can try. You can seek AI to rate to this answer. So I give an example there. Describe how to test carbon dioxide gas. Include what would you do and the changes that you would see. Okay, that's the question. And you can even actually put the marks or whatever from the question. And that is my answer that I wanted to put in. Okay, bubble gas through lime water experiment. And if the gas is carbon dioxide, then I want to change from colorless to cloudy. It's basic science. Right, so based on my answer, the question and answer, then this I will put into ChatGPT, for example. Then I ask ChatGPT to rate my answer. Then the ChatGPT, based on 3 marks, maybe we give 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks. If you give 3 marks, then that's fine, it means that it's good. But if it's 2 marks, if it's 1 mark, then you can ask why. Okay, and then if you have rubrics from your lectures, for example, you can take those rubrics, put it into ChatGPT as well. Right, this is the question, this is my answer, this is the rubric. Based on this rubric, please grade me. Then you will get grade. Again, you can use AI as your own tutor. So before you pass over your assignment to your lecturer, you will be able to know where do you stand. Okay, if you realize that, oh, I made a lot of mistakes, then you have to go back and do your study. Right, it's there to help you. Right, and then to create essay style questions, like I mentioned earlier, use AI in order for you to find out what is the quality of the things or the text that you have written. Then from there, you will be able to find out on which level you are and what are the things that you can actually add in, okay, in order for you to improve the situation. Right. So these are biases in AI-generated assessment tasks. So bias could happen, okay, simply because, like I've mentioned earlier, any AI, any GPTs is based on human input. So it depends on what does the AI is being input with, right? For example, like ChatGPT, the information is limited to a certain years. So anything after that, it won't have any kind of information towards it, right? So that being said, you cannot just purely 100% trust AI and trust generative AIs or trust GPTs. You cannot 100% trust them. You must still do your own study. That's the basic concept lah. Okay, so you must refine of the things that you ask. In this term, we call it prompts lah. So just to share with you, in Facebook and in Reddits, in a lot of forums, there are a lot of groups that actually get together and they discuss about how to come up with the best prompts in order for you to do certain things. They even come up with the basic skeleton, the basic structure. It's very interesting, so maybe you can look it up in social medias, in Reddits, in forums. So all this will definitely help you in refining the things that you ask GPT to do, right? So something what we call as the dynamic change, right? Means that you are making things much more contextualized for you, right? Give an example. This is a question that I would ask GPT based on my assignment. I give you an example. Right, perform an analysis on the sale of digital camera market segment in Malaysia. Say, for example, that's my assignment question. All right, so I'm putting it in there just as it is. So what AI is going to do is that it's going to give me a very general term about camera market segments in Malaysia, right? Even if I don't put Malaysia, then it's going to be very much more general. Now I put in Malaysia, so it's still specific to Malaysia, but the whole idea is still in a very generic term. So it based on what does your generative AI feels is the best answer for you, then it will pass it through. However, if you further redefine your prompts, right? So what are the things that you can refine? So you wanted to do an analysis on the sale of digital market segment, but in what context? You can ask from the current economy. But then again, if you talk about current economy, if your generative AI does not have the current knowledge, then still it won't work lah. So it depends also on what kind of generative AI you are using, right? You must understand that. Okay, but I'm just giving you an example here. So current economy, you talk about Malaysian buying power, you talk about consumerism of electronic goods in Malaysia, you talk about interest towards digital camera. So you can further redefine the questions that you ask to your GPT, you ask for your generative AI, then you will have a much more specific content, a much more personalized content to what you feel that you want to present to your lecturer, right? Remember, your lecturer only asked to do an analysis of the sale of digital camera market segment. So it might be very generic, it might be in terms of everything, but you can also tackle this in a certain angle or a certain perspective. This, again, comes in very handy, especially in open-ended kind of questions. You know, I'm talking about assignments, I'm talking about projects, you're writing in essays, portfolios, and so on. Right, so this is what we call as the dynamic change. Right, so I've highlighted the importance of clear and specific prompts lah. So try to avoid ambiguity in prompts. Try to avoid any ambiguity. Be very specific. It's okay if your prompt is long. AI is going to learn about it. So it's very important for them to get. And again, like I mentioned, if you are able to do this, the ethics will come in naturally. All right? Because we are still using the same thing. It's not that yesterday you were using ChatGPT, so today, because of ethics, I'm asking you to use some other brands. No, it's still the same brand, it's still the same app. Okay, so now this generic role of using AI in feedback and support student learning and development. Number one, self-reflection. So I've already mentioned earlier, so that you'll be able to have a stronger understanding of your own work. Okay, you might have friends, you might have smart friends who are able to help you, but then if your friends also is a student, so they couldn't help you much. So having AI is a blessing because that's sort of like your own tutors. Number two, it also encourage active learning, because this is what the lecturers like. Okay, active learning. They want students who are able to actually join the sessions. Students are actually active in giving out ideas and information. So it's okay if your idea and information come from your generative AI, as long as it is generated, okay, contextualized to what you believe in, okay, not what does the AI thinks is good for you, right? And also, of course, when you are able to do this, you start to have confidence, right? So you will feel that you can do almost anything. Back then, to write one letter would require, back then to write one policy paper would take me 1 week or 2 weeks for me to complete. These days, I am confident when people ask me to write a policy paper, I will be able to complete it in 1 or 2 days, right? Because the frame all will be generated by AI. Then I just need to put in my own perspective and my own understanding into the content, right? So all of this, I'm going to bring into the big question. Has you been using it the right way? Okay, that's my preach today. I want you guys to continue use whatever AI you're using, whether it's for text, whether it's for picture and whatnot. It's just that in order for you to use it in the ethical way, make it personalized to your need. Right. So for that, I end my session. So I pass back to the moderator. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Razif, for your insightful presentations. Okay. So now we reach to our questionnaire and answer sessions. Okay. So actually we have received one number here, one number of questions here from audience. Okay. So they want to know more details about the potential of limitation and bias to consider when using AI for assessment in education, especially.
Okay. Now, bias will comes in. Number one, the biggest bias is based on what kind of AI, what kind of AI you are using. Because again, when it comes to a branding, it's based on how does the project is being initialized in the beginning. So if that particular AI is specifically for education and research, then you have something like OpenAI, meaning that it's very technical, it's very in depth. But if you talk about something that is very generic, then you talk about BART, for example. So BART is much more open, and it caters sort of like one size fits all. So when you want to say about bias, number one is the brand. Number two, it depends also on how does actually you bring in the prompts as well. So the way you write your prompt also will actually bring into the bias, because the prompts, each of the tasks that you key in into your prompts will be analyzed, and remember the predictive word. So the matching of the sentence, or the words and how it is being arranged also will lead you to a different path. Okay, for every single word. Say for example, you have 10 words in one sentence. So after words number 2, it will bring into word number 3, and word number 3 will be branched out into multiple other words. So from there itself, it will give you different type of bias. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Razi, for the clear explanations. Then, as we conclude today's sessions, I want to express our gratitude for your insightful presentation on the ethical use of AI learning, Mr. Razif. Your expertise has certainly added value to our understanding of the important topics today. All right. Okay. So, on behalf of Masa University, I extend sincere thanks to all the participants for joining us today. Hopefully, the presentation was beneficial for everyone. And for all audience and viewer, we invite you to explore more about our program, especially in the Faculty of Engineering, Built Environment and IT, and join us on our open day. Details you can be found in our website actually. Okay, once again, thank you, Mr. Razif, for your time
You're
and
welcome.
engaging sessions. All
My
right,
pleasure.
okay, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone, and we look forward to having you with us again in our future webinar sessions. Goodbye. Assalamualaikum.